Good evening and welcome to day 13 of the 30 days of Halloween. Today's figure will be none other than Mr. Friday the 13th himself, Jason Voorhees. So as the story goes, Friday the 13th is a 1980 American independent slasher film starring Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees, Jason's mother. It also has Kevin Bacon in it. I think it might have been one of his first movies. Its plot follows a group of teen camp counselors who are murdered one by an unknown killer. While they are attempting to reopen an abandoned summer camp with a tragic past. Ooh, that's scary. So what we've got here is the NECA... Oops. Excuse me, Jason. Is the NECA Freddy vs. Jason figure. Here's some cool shots of the figure on the box. And then we got the figure itself. Pretty cool looking, pretty realistic. His elbows don't really move that well. It's pretty limited action in them. Pretty stiff. Comes with his machete. And he comes with two other masks. Go with this grisly face. Can swivel all around. And he's got limited bend in his legs. Boots, nothing really at all. And he can't spread eagle at all. Which why would Jason? Then it comes with this other cool mask. A little bit darker version. Then he has this blood-soaked mask. After Freddy pummels him. We'll try that one on him. Oops. There we go. Pretty nice. So the filming took place in New Jersey in the summer of 1979 on an estimated budget of $550,000. Friday the 13th was a major box office success, grossing $60 million worldwide. Its box office success led to a long series of sequels, a crossover with the A Nightmare on Elm Street film series, and also an '09 series reboot. And then we have the box set right here. 8-movie collection on Blu-ray. And you got 8 films on this. You got the original Friday the 13th, Uncut. Friday the 13th, Part 2. Friday the 13th, Part 3, which is a 3D. That's one you really need to see in the theaters. Then one of my personal faves, Friday the 13th, the final chapter. And then I also like Friday the 13th, 5, A New Beginning. Then you got Jason Lives, The New Blood, and Jason Takes Manhattan. So plenty of blood and slashing, if you please. So just a little bit to cover some of the movie. Anne is a camp counselor who's going to volunteer, but her car breaks down, so she hitches a ride to Camp Crystal Lake by a truck driver named Enos. Enos warns her about the camp's troubled past, beginning when a young boy drowned in Crystal Lake in '57. That would be Jason. After being dropped off at the halfway point, Annie hitches another ride from an unseen person who eventually slashes her throat. And so the mayhem begins. So Jason begins his onslaught, killing most of the counselors and the volunteers. Suddenly, a middle-aged woman who claims to be a friend of Steve, the counselor, arrives. She reveals that her son Jason was the young boy killed in 1957, and she blames his death on neglected counselors because they were having sex instead of supervising him. Revealing herself as the killer, she attempts to kill Alice, one of the counselors. At the shore, they struggle. She is able to decapitate Mrs. Voorhees. Exhausted, Alice falls asleep inside a canoe that floats out on Crystal Lake. When she awakes, Jason's decomposed corpse drags her into the lake, at which point she awakens in a hospital surrounded by a police sergeant and medical staff. Alice tells of a young Jason being drowned in Crystal Lake. The sergeant says there was no sign of a boy at the lake, to which Alice says, and I quote, "Then he's still out there." Yeah. So are you guys watching Friday the 13th this Friday the 13th? Doesn't come around that often on Halloween, October. Tell me in the comments, are you watching it? Are you passing on it? And if you are passing on it, tell me what you will be watching. But until the next one, happy haunting.